Thanks for choosing to listen to this Late Night Linux Family podcast. We're only able to do this because of the people who support us. None of our shows are paywalled, but our Patreon supporters can get most episodes early and never hear any ads. Learn more at latenightlinux.com/support or support us by telling a friend or colleague about everything we do. Hello and welcome to episode 397 of Late Night Linux, recorded on the 27th of July 2026. I'm Joe, and with me are Félim.
Howdy.
Graham.
Bonsoir.
And Will.
Hello.
Quite a lot of people have got their Steam machines now, including Liam from Gaming on Linux. And I think, Félim, you put a link in to his kind of initial thoughts about it, and it all seems pretty good, mostly.
Yeah, I can't remember if it was me that put it in, but yeah, it does. It looks very promising. I mean, you know, it's not the most amazing piece of kit, but it's not half bad either, mind you. So, yeah, it's a nice piece of gear if you can get one.
There are a few quirks, though. I find it very, very amusing that even Valve can't sort out sleep and resume.
I'm pretty sure it doesn't work on Windows anyway, so...
I think it works on the Mac reasonably well.
Oh, well, you'd hope so, with the people who are in charge of building the hardware also build the software, like...
Yeah.
It works on the Steam Deck, but it didn't work on the Steam Deck in the beginning. It's become more and more stable, so I reckon it'll be the same with this.
Well, that's the thing with the Steam Deck. You got one fairly early on, Graham, and you've seen so many updates, haven't you? Like,
oh, yeah.
They are really actively developing it.
I know. I mean, I use the beta channel for updates, and it's actually quite annoying because pretty much every time I turn it on, every couple of days, there's an update that needs to be installed.
I thought you'd be used to that being an Arch user.
Hey!
I just pretend they're not there on Arch.
Right, yeah, good. Much like your CentOS 5 box or whatever.
4. It's 4. I'm going backwards. I think it gets worse.
It's 6.2. It's fine.
What's wrong with 6.9? You could have patches that you haven't patched.
Yeah. Python 2 is the big problem there.
Anyway, it seems that the little teething problems will probably get sorted out fairly soon, hopefully. And it kind of makes me want one, even though I just wouldn't really use it. So I'm not going to get one.
I really like Liam's write-up on Gaming on Linux, and I've read a lot about this, and I'm surprised at how interested I've been in it. But I think despite the cost and despite all of the kind of, I don't want to call them negatives, but despite the headwinds, most people seem to really like it simply because of the form factor, and they've done such a good job with the SteamOS experience. For PC gaming, it's like a new thing. You can just turn it on and be up and running within an hour or something.
Yeah. And that LED bar on the front, which I thought was just for, pure aesthetics, it does actually work as like a progress bar when you're downloading stuff and whatnot. I think that's a really nice touch. Jellyfin project leadership changes. This seems quite serious in that the founder of Jellyfin has left or is leaving, and some of the core team are following suit. It seems like it's being handled in a responsible way, but it still makes me feel worried.
It's almost like in a couple of months there'll be an Indiegogo campaign to launch a new project.
Yeah.
Yeah, I totally agree with you.
The funny thing was, I took the opposite from that. I thought this was leaders who didn't have time and energy being responsible and letting it not fester, and then, like the CentOS guy going off with the domain somewhere else and then them having to make Alma and fuck knows what, whereas this was a case of, right, recognize the fact that I don't have time for this, let's pass it on to someone else.
Yeah, I think that's fair.
I don't know if I'm correct or not.
Well, I thought the same as you, Félim. I read the going away email. I thought it was very well written and very straight down the middle, and they're tired. They've been doing it for a long time. I was thinking if I'd been in a job for, how long is it now? 5 years, 6 years they've been doing this. I'd be ready for a change. I'd be ready to let somebody else drive. I think that's a reasonable tenure for somebody to run a project that they started as a hobby, maybe a few hundred users, it won't really matter, to suddenly the next big thing on media sticks around the world. It's a lot of pressure, and it's a lot of pressure to turn up every day, making sure that things are moving in the right direction, making sure everyone's aligned on the features that they're developing and that everybody knows what's going on. It's exhausting. I don't blame them.
Yeah, but why? If this was my baby, if it was something that had become as hugely successful and as beautiful as Jellyfin is, I would always want to be a part of it somehow. I can't imagine not, even if I'm just some, benevolent dictator has now become a bad word, I think, but something like that.
But I think if you started a project on your own and it was your baby and it was shaped in exactly the way that you wanted it, and then a few people get involved and a few more to the point where there are thousands of individual contributors, all of which own a little bit of this project, which you don't really know how it works anymore because it's got so big and you're responsible for so much stuff. I think it's understandable that you would just kind of be able to distance yourself from it, and it wouldn't have that same... It wouldn't be the same thing that you formed all those years ago.
I hope you're right. I think it's a brilliant project. I use it all the time.
Yeah, I hope that you're right as well. I hope that it continues and doesn't just kind of wither away and, fade away and eventually die.
I am absolutely confident that it won't wither away and die. I mean, look at XBMC that's been going for, I don't know, forever. It's still there, believe it or not. I haven't been using Jellyfin for very long, like maybe a few months now. But one of the things I notice about it is that it's basically feature complete as far as I'm concerned. It does everything that I could possibly want it to do. I discovered the other day it's got a TV backend as well. If you've got a TV tuner plugged in, you can record TV with it. I didn't even know it did that.
Really?
Yeah. But the front end is so well developed and so intuitive. And okay, yes, it's very similar to a lot of the video on demand services, but it does absolutely everything I need it to do. If it never changed from this point onwards, I would be pretty happy running it on the current hardware.
Well, the thing is that you've got new codec standards to think about, new hardware acceleration stuff to think about. So there is ongoing development required, but you're right that it is more or less feature complete from a kind of usability standpoint.
Stupid question. How different from Kodi is it? What would you see as the difference between two? Because I've never actually really overly looked into Jellyfin.
Well, you see how Kodi is really difficult to use. That's the main difference. Like, code is fine until you go into the settings, and then you show me advanced settings. Then you say, show me really advanced settings. Then you say, show me really advanced expert settings. And there's all of this fucking nonsense in there that doesn't make sense to anybody. Jellyfin just works out the box. There isn't all of this very complex stuff. And if there is, it's accessible via a web interface on the server. And it's just intuitive and way easier to use, much more sane defaults. And it does things like working out exactly what audio track your playing device supports and takes care of it for you. So stuff just works. It's like using Netflix when you've been using Kodi all these years. You go to Netflix, you search what you're looking for, you press play, it starts, everything works perfectly. Whereas Kodi, like, oh yeah, I've just got to go into change the settings to 5.1 Dolby 2 instead of Dolby 1, and then it'll work properly, and all of that crap.
Well, you picked the possible worst example because having watched Blade Runner on Sunday night, wanted to watch Blade Runner 2049. What's that, Netflix? Oh, you've taken it away. Brilliant. So, shite analogy there.
Right, but if it was there, it would have worked.
Well, that leads on to Sony deletes a bunch more movies from the accounts of people who bought them. I mean, it's no wonder the likes of Jellyfin are going from strength to strength in terms of user numbers, is it? Because people are buying the DVDs and ripping them and putting them on their server.
This is especially bullshit that because of a licensing change, Sony can take videos or media, let's say, that you have actually purchased with real money. You own that thing, except, of course, you don't own it. You own a license to it. So the idea that you can pay money to have ownership of something and then have it taken away from you because of a disagreement between a couple of media giants is exactly the reason that people are using Jellyfin.
It is a bit different from stuff disappearing from Netflix, isn't it? Like, You pay this flat fee for all the shit on Netflix or Apple or whatever it is.
Yeah, I'm under no illusion that I do not own all those copies of everything that they have, and I have not made backups of them.
Yeah, but if you specifically buy something,
Yeah.
that is just total bullshit.
How that doesn't breach consumer law, I don't know. I mean, obviously, not a lawyer here, but yeah, it does seem to be slightly void. And even giving somebody a refund for the actual face value of it doesn't seem like that's correct either, because it should be more than that because of the hardship that you have to go through to look at somewhere else to get it from, whatever, I don't know.
Well, my understanding in this case is that there were no refunds. So it's extra double bullshit.
Where was this? Was it in Europe?
It can't have been. It must be the land of the free.
Yeah, it must be, yeah.
We talked about this before, and I had Chitty Chitty Bang Bang removed from my Sony Movie Lab library.
Presumably, they are falling back on this, you clicked the EULA or whatever.
Yeah.
And in it, in tiny font, it said, we reserve the right to fucking delete this.
We'll do whatever we want.
I think my favourite one of this of all time still has to be the one where Amazon sold 1984 to Kindles and the family of the fellow who wrote it, whose name I can't remember. Thank you. I was going to say Orson Welles, and that's like, nah, that's not right. And then they said it had to be taken back. So, yeah, it was taken back in a 1984-esque way, which is quite hilarious.
US government targets Cop City protester over phone operating system. So this is a US citizen who was flying back into the US who had Graphene OS on his phone. And he'd set up a duress pin, which if you go to unlock it with this pin, it just wipes the whole thing and reboots it. And the US authorities didn't like that.
I guess it doesn't surprise me. God, what are they going to be listening to what we're saying now?
Well, I note that Spain says that if you've got it on your phone, they immediately assume you're dodgy. I'm going on holidays to Spain potentially this summer, so I'm not sure I like this. I, for one, think the authorities were 100% correct and he should be given the chair. I'm just putting that out there.
Why wouldn't you take like a burner phone or a phone with as little minimal as possible? I suppose he's taken one for the team.
I'd love to see you stopped at the border and they open your phone and it's like a Nokia 3210 with 3 contacts in it. And they're like, oh, right to fucking jail with you.
Yeah.
Yeah, they want to see all your social media. You explain that you're on Mastodon and they just look at you blankly. Like. But they say that it's destroying evidence and shit like that. I mean, I am certainly no expert in US law, but that, I don't know, doesn't sit right with me.
Yeah, borders are funny though. You don't have the same rights when you go through a border. If they demand your decryption key on your laptop and you say no, well then, that's it. You're either getting sent back or straight to jail if you happen to be a citizen. Devil's advocate, you can see the point if there is something suspicious going on, but yeah, you can see where the overreach would be so unbelievably easy at this point.
Yeah, and this should go to a court where a judge theoretically looks at the evidence for this person maybe being a terrorist and the potential for that material being on their phone, and if there is reasonable likelihood, then maybe they did break the law.
Well, except that this is probably because this person has been demonstrating against a police training center. So they've just labeled him as a terrorist. Like, it just seems complete bullshit to me.
Yeah. We got in trouble for saying that we wouldn't visit the US before, but, this doesn't help.
It absolutely does not help. Well, a bit of a downer. Will, I think you put this in. David Potter, the man who put Psion in the palm of your hand, logs off at 82, says the Register, in typical tabloid fashion. But he had quite an interesting life, this guy.
Yeah, I mean, I remember Psion from, I guess, the late 90s maybe the mid-90s, for making software that ran on pocket-sized PCs that actually did useful things. It wasn't just a telephone directory. It was actual real applications that you could use on a device. So, in my opinion, very much the precursor to smartphones and, by a long way. Amazing foresight, I think, really, to know what was going to be possible and the right way to do it. And then that became Symbian, which ended up running on Nokia phones. And so I think that was a very, very successful piece of software that millions of people have had first-hand experience of. And, it was made in the UK, Potter himself, I think, was South African, but the company was definitely UK based. And so I think it's worthy of a mention to all our listeners to go and read up about it.
Graham, listener Andy wrote to us about a board that you can use to make a steam machine, and you bought one.
Yeah, that's right. This is really a big thank you to Andy. I hadn't heard about this subculture that had seemed to grow around the ASRock, AMD BC250, which was, I don't know the terminology, some crypto mining blade that all the crypto bros had put in their data centers before AI made them redundant. The way that it's sold is it's basically got very similar capabilities to the PlayStation 5. And when I started looking into it, it's a really interesting kind of mini project. It's actually really easy to do. It looks like a beefy GPU. It's got 16 gig of fast RAM. It's got pretty decent performance. And there's some great instructions on how you flash a custom firmware. You have to modify the cooling on it so that it's designed for a rack. So the airflow is different. So you kind of have to wrench all of the cooling fins off the top of the heatsink and do some pretty extreme butchery on the board. And then stick a big fan on it. But all of those things are pretty easy to do. And I had a lot of fun doing this. I actually haven't put Steam on it yet, but I installed CachyOS because you need a really recent kernel to be able to get access to all of the cores in the system that are disabled by default. I don't know if this is true, but apparently the devices were built initially for the PlayStation 5 and then they failed quality control. So if some of the cores weren't up to the standard, they were sold for crypto. Mine just bought off eBay, all the cores unlocked, and I seem to have the full capabilities of the device. Installed CachyOS on it, AMD graphics drivers. It runs, in fact, is faster than my main PC. And I actually bought it to replace an ancient PC that I've got in my arcade machine as a MAME emulator. So it's going to be destined for that. And in fact, the only problem I've had is that it's got a display port on it, and the screen in my arcade machine is DVI-D. And I just can't drive it from the display port. I think I need an active adapter because of the resolutions involved, and I'm reluctant to spend £50 on an active adapter for that. So,
ooh, Jesus.
Yeah, I'm now looking into getting like a cheap OLED I can put inside the display rather than that old thing I got. So it's going to cost me more to replace the monitor than it is to put this together. Oh, I should also mention that I needed a power supply, and I did have an old ATX power supply, and was able to use the 8-pin PCIe power connector on that just to connect it up. And I've just dropped it all in the arcade machine. I can't tell you how fast it is. It feels great to me. I think it'd make an ideal games machine for cheaper than a Raspberry Pi 5.
Wow.
And has it got a normal power button header and stuff like that?
No, it doesn't. It doesn't have anything like that. It depends on how much you really like your ATX power supply, but you can modify the cables on that, which is what I've done. You can buy power supply units, I think, for £20 on Amazon that do have a power switch.
Canyonero.
Yeah, that's another thing you have to think about when you put this thing together, along with the storage. It doesn't come with storage.
I know you live in the country. Do you have a thatched roof? I'm just concerned for your family.
It's pretty cool, actually, because obviously I can check with you install LM sensors, and everything I've been doing, at least with the arcade machine games, have run perfectly. And in fact, I had a really finely tuned set of shaders for MAME to make it look like a CRT, and that was running on NVIDIA hardware, so I didn't expect them to kind of migrate to this, but it works perfectly.
And so you spend, 130 quid on the board, plus a power supply, plus a drive, plus a fan?
I had the drive. I just used an old M2 drive that I had in a PC. It was only 256 gig. And the fan was £15.
Right.
I think it's a great project. So thank you very much, Andy. I'm surprised that I completely missed it.
Félim, you've got a bit of a follow-up on that Cholo game.
Yeah, it's quite cool. Andy Piper pinged on Mastodon and said, he tried it out and he got it working because he found a version of the game on archive.org. And yes, it was missing the very vital piece of the .exe. So those DAT files were pretty much DAT files, and you needed the exe to run it. So I thought, brilliant. And I saw a couple of people posted saying, oh God, I was messing around with Wine trying to get work and all that. I thought, I only saw literally the other day a way in Steam to say add a non-Steam game. So I added the exe in. Literally, I put it in a folder, the whole game install, and, well, install, I unzipped the folder, had the exe in there, went to the Steam, added a non-Steam game in my library, told it to use Proton 11, and it worked straight away. Zero messing, full screen, fit the screen properly, perfect. I'm still shit at it, but I'm going to try.
So was it everything you remembered then?
Well, this is the remake, so I did see somebody had posted the old one, but I just didn't get on with that because my browser, which was obviously Firefox, is a piece of shite, and it decided not to play it. And it was probably something to do with my Pi hole or anti-adware things, who knows, but it didn't work for me. So yeah, I was really dying to try and get that new one working. Well, new, 2005, fuck's sake, 21-year-old version of the game going instead of the 40-year version of the game going. I don't know, but yeah, so we'll see. I'm going to try it more.
Well, I've discovered Q, a terminal music player. Now, it's not Q as in queue up a track. It's KEW as in the Botanical Gardens. So I don't know why it's called that, but it's in the Ubuntu repo. So you don't have to mess around installing it. It's just sudo apt install Q. And then you just tell it where your music is. And then it's just a really, really simple, but actually quite full-featured music player in your terminal. It shows the album art. Now, if your terminal is quite basic, it just does it's not ASCII, is it? Like, what is it? It's like a sort of curses style where it, like, looks a bit pixelated or whatever. But anyway, in the XFCE terminal, it does that.
Line art?
Not quite line art. I don't know. Look at the screenshots. I actually know the screenshots on their website make it look proper, but I suppose I can share a screenshot of Taylor Swift's Midnight's album cover.
Oh, it looks great.
It looks like really cool. It shows you the bit rate. You can do playlists. You can do random play, shuffle. It's just everything that I need in a music player, really. And it's in the terminal, so it's obviously really lightweight.
It looks really nice. It just makes me want to install it and play some music.
Yeah, I cannot believe that this has not been discovered by you, Graham. This is like so the sort of thing that you would find.
Yeah.
Well, see, Graham actually has a decent desktop called KDE, which is actually a joy to use. And therefore, he's not constantly trying to escape it like you are. This one has color. Look at the color that you get in a terminal. Oh.
Yeah, well, he's still using Amarok, no doubt.
I am not using it because it didn't work properly for me. It didn't import some tracks and I had to log a bug. So I use Eliza.
Well, I normally use VLC, but that feels a bit overkill to me.
Yeah, using a video player to listen to music. Who thinks that doesn't work properly?
But yeah, Graham, you definitely need to get on this. I mean, I pointed it at a fairly big folder of music, and it took, I don't know, maybe 10 seconds to kind of pass it all and work it all out. And then it said, like, do you want to cache this for next time? I said, yes. And then it was just instant the next time.
Okay, I've bookmarked it.
I say my library is big. It's 36 gigabytes. I would imagine yours is significantly bigger than that, Graham.
No, it's not. No, because I made the mistake of ripping all of my CDs to OGG4bis.
I did that too.
The big life mistake. It was back in the first time that storage was expensive.
Did you also buy iRiver players because nothing else played?
Yeah, I did. Yeah,
good. I'm glad to say I wasn't the only fucking loser out there doing it.
You see, what you should have done was rip them to 128 kilobit per second MP3s like I did.
Well, that would have been fine because at least it would have been supported by actual normal players that you could buy at a shop as opposed to ones that you had to get special handshake down the back of an alleyway.
I did get this to play FLACS. I haven't tried OGGs. I have got some OGGs, I think, so I should try it. But yeah, handle FLACS, no problem.
Hey, the last time I used my DVD player was to re-rip all my CDs, and I genuinely did actually re-rip all my CDs.
Did you do it to FLAC then, this time?
No, I don't have the ears to hear the difference. I just, a high bitrate MP3, I don't know what I picked. Not something daft either, though. I didn't do 256 or probably 192, I don't know.
What? 320 if you're going to do an MP3? Come on. If you've got the storage, you should just do FLAC, really, because you can always go down from there in terms of quality.
Go on, tell me how you're going to get the hard drive to store all of your audio these days.
Well,
I stole a few C90 tapes out of a Maxwell garage, and I'm trying to put data straight onto them.
I do have 6 terabytes left on my main ZFS pool, so I could put a few FLACs on there if I really wanted to. But I am convinced that no human being can tell the difference between a FLAC and a 320 MP3.
I don't know. Maybe it's the encoding.
Oh.
No, not on everything. My high frequency hearing is not as good as it used to be. But there are things like specifically Miles Davis kind of blue, with the symbols.
Yeah.
I can definitely hear degradation in quality with MP3 on them.
Well, I did this test with a 9 Inch Nails album with my friend once, who claimed that he could tell the difference, and he could not.
9 Inch Nails, though, I think you maybe have spoilt the test results.
Yeah, that's true. They've damaged their hearing.
But anyway, yes, Q, check it out. It's great. Right, well, we better get out of here then. We'll be back next week when it'll probably be news and stuff, but we'll have to see. Until then, I've been Joe.
I've been Félim.
I've been Graham.
And I've been Will.
See you later.